Mr. Dr. Lance Knaub. What part of the country are you calling from, Dr. Lance?
I am just outside of Philadelphia in Medford, New Jersey, South Jersey.
Okay. One thing that I love about the technology space and even the podcasting in general is it gives you opportunity to talk to specialists around the world. New Jersey is a long ways away. I only been to New Jersey once, so it's kind of cool having conversations and having intellectual conversations. One of the things I want to talk about early is I read your background and how you started your medical practice. Can we briefly started like how you kind of ended up here and when you started your journey as far as becoming a doctor and that whole starting your medical practice and all that stuff?
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me, guys. So excited to talk to you guys. You guys are impressive. Love the real estate software combination and everything you guys are doing. Yeah. As far as when started my entrepreneurial journey, my wife and I are both physical therapists. We were 1 year apart in our school. We actually met in Aberdeen, Scotland, lived and studied abroad. One of the best things I did, just totally opened my mind to the world and got to see so much. Highly recommend it. Started working for a couple of years. Didn't think I had an entrepreneurial bone in my body. Just wanted to really master my craft, and I did that, and I took every continuing ed and ed opportunity, got certified in everything, became a board certified orthopedic specialist, got my doctorate in physical therapy, was really just working hard and just loving it all. And then I started to realize that I thought things could be better. There could be a better way, that physical therapy and fitness could be uniquely brought together and combined. And if you were to look through the customer's best interest, started to do some research, started to read, started to study. A colleague of mine knew that I was, headed in this direction, and he introduced me to someone who had a boutique fitness center, who had a small space. And this gentleman actually wanted me to buy the fitness center called EverFit in Medford, New Jersey. I just wasn't ready for that. My wife and I weren't ready for that. So we ended up subletting 300 square feet, the size of an average American bedroom. We didn't even have any windows in this room. We didn't have any outside signage. We were so frugal. I mentioned to you, I really love profit first and, trying to get established before, stay profitable and have healthy profit. So we actually didn't have a copier. We walked next door to Murphy's grocery store and made 10-cent copies for the first couple of months. But by serving these fitness clients and over delivering for all of our clients, we started to get traction. And then we ended up buying the fitness center within about 1.5 years. And, I'll give you the rest of the story just quickly. Now we can dive into anything and everything. I really studied partnerships. I wanted there to be a win-win for our best people. And those opportunities didn't exist in the physical therapy industry, very hardly at all. I created this partnership track. And really, even in addition to our physical therapists, I tried to create incentive opportunities and really have our performance-based, models so that we were recognizing everybody on the team. They knew what success looked like. And, one of our partners, probably in like 2014, at a development plan meeting, I said, well, what are your short and long-term goals? And they said, well, I want to be the CEO. And I said, whoa, what am I going to do? Is what I thought. I took a deep breath and realized that this could be a great opportunity. So we continued to map out a development plan. And then in 2018, it came to fruition. I literally handed off the CEO hat of our first child, right, of a 5-location practice that was all of our savings. And, we had done some 401k and traditional investing, but really this was the great mass of our life savings and our life work, and handed that off and tried to figure out what the hell I was going to do next. Talked to a franchise broker, realized I was too entrepreneurial for that, and decided I wanted to help other entrepreneurs and pay it all forward. So I put it all into a book called The 4% Breakthrough, all the painful, hard-earned lessons I learned in being an operator for 13 years, gone from zero to $3.4 million company. And that's where my focus has been, just really helping other entrepreneurs stay healthy while they're scaling their businesses.
Man, I love it, man. I love everything behind it in the story, starting from the beginning, profit first. It's kind of realigned with all those same, I guess, I don't even know what they are, their ideas. I love it. So anybody that's building or has built any company at any level of success, we know that could take a serious toll on your body. So I love the model that you're pursuing, is how to take somebody from start to finish, not only in business, right, and in finance, but also in health. So I think that's what would differentiate you from a lot of people that are in our space. So can we kind of talk about that a little bit? Like, you have a guy like myself and Daniel, we're working really hard trying to, see what the bigger picture is. And automatically you put little time aside for yourself and for your own personal health, right? And now we've been working on that for the last year, Daniel and myself. But where does somebody start if they don't know where to begin? They've never really been in a gym, never been into bodybuilding or counting calories or food partitioning. What's a good starting point for somebody. And can you talk a little bit about the progression of how that would work?
This show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings, and of course to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at hivemindcrm.io.
Sure. I'm going to give you a detailed answer on that, and I'm going to give you a story for that as well, and really explain why it is my passion. In 2011, we had 3 offices, about 30 employees, and we just had our 3rd child. So we had 3 children under the age of 4. I was working 80 plus hours a week, not sleeping much, not exercising much, even though I'm a physical therapist, personal trainer, and that was our business, just generally abusing my body. And my body finally had enough and revolted. And my digestive system, my GI system it shut down, and I couldn't eat, and had, either to run to the bathroom or I was in the bathroom all the time, right? So I had to eat some, bananas, and somebody luckily recommended, just a friend, not a nutrition expert, but to try the Brat diet. And that calmed my digestive system down, and I was able to at least get some nutrition. And I had to undergo an endoscopy and studies to rule out cancer, celiac, Crohn's. It was pretty bad. And I was rendered helpless, and I was wearing all the hats, right? And I was treating 12 hours a day and a 30-person, 3-office company. So to be, stopped in your tracks, it was pretty tough on me and the business. So to answer your question on how to approach that, fortunately, I figured out how to power through that. And this is the exact process that I eventually became the 4% Breakthrough, my book. So to me, it's 3 steps: personal development, personal and professional development, and then it's business fundamentals, secondly. And lastly, it's lifestyle. And in my book, every chapter is a step in the process. So the lifestyle steps are mental health, nutrition, exercise, sleep, and posture. And then I'd probably add post-book, I would add like humor and play as just things to stay healthy. So at the beginning, it's like a Jim Rohn quote, right? People rarely succeed beyond their level of development. So that's why I step on again that personal professional development. And my book process is just like slicing it from a few different ways, right? Figuring out your purpose, that existential thing, and just really asking some tough questions. And then business fundamentals, right? This is what I'm working on with my coaching consulting, and you guys probably with this, have a structure, have an organization, have some type of framework, have position description so everybody knows what the heck they are doing specifically every single day. Have your processes or systems, whatever you like to call them. Have a marketing plan, have a game plan, have a strategy. And then lastly, just, do some skills gap assessment. Know what you have on your team and what roles and gaps you don't have, so you can keep working to try to replace them. So that's exactly what I would recommend, Anthony. It's a fantastic question. Really think introspectively, decide what's important to you, start to weave in the fundamentals, and then integrate all these lifestyle things, because so often entrepreneurs make extreme sacrifices just like I did. And if you lose your health, right, what do you have at the end of it? That's kind of sort of a high level, like how I put that exact process to serve entrepreneurs together.
Well, one thing I want to ask, and this is more of like passing on responsibilities. One thing that's, I'm sure was scary is you built this business for 13 years and then handed the reins to somebody else. Do you still have are you on the board and still have like board meetings, and he kind of handles day to day? What does that look like as far as handing the CEO reins over to some, not necessarily a stranger, but somebody new and you brought into the company?
Yeah, great question. I think that I actually probably gave a little too much room initially, and partly because, again, I was trying to spread my wings and do all these exciting things, figure out, what I was going to do. People need support, but they also do need a little bit of accountability. So then we ended up doing what John Maxwell does, meeting monthly as like a really just regular check-in on both ways, support and accountability. And that was a nice rhythm for us. So I don't know if you know John Maxwell, leadership guru.
Yeah.
But yeah, not that many people have done this. So humbly speaking, Gino Wickman, the author of Traction and EOS, if you're familiar with him, John Maxwell, obviously Jeff Bezos, Ray Dalio, one of the most famous investors. It took him like 35 years, I think, and he had to hand it off to 2 CEOs. Yeah, it's not easy to do to really develop somebody. And it would be scarier if you actually handed it off to somebody outside the company. We'd already been working together, right from this person was one of our interns, Dr. Physical Therapy intern. And then they came on as a physical therapist, then became a manager, and then director of operations. And so we were in the trenches together for many years. And my analogy with partnerships is that you really have to date before you get married, because once you become an equity partner with somebody, that is like marriage. And unfortunately, if it doesn't work, it's going to be like a divorce. It's going to be painful and expensive. The only one that's going to win is going to be the attorneys.
Yeah. Well, one thing that we saw recently was having like an arbitration agreement that you're gonna do this in arbitration without lawyers, and I think it's one thing we got from recently talking to somebody about that is having like preset standards of how you're going to handle disagreements or breakups, essentially.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point. We had in our agreements arbitration, but we didn't have this without attorneys clause. And unfortunately, just FYI, once you get to arbitration, they're basically expecting some type of payment, right? And just offer all entrepreneurs listening, and for you guys, turn your antenna up for age and sex, like, sort of like the common opportunities where somebody could claim like age discrimination or sex discrimination or harassment or something like that. All those things, because if you go to arbitration, it's almost assumed that the owner of the company, if it's an employee situation, is going to pay some money. So FYI, we thought we were really doing a genius thing, having this arbitration thing, but it limited it from maybe going to court, which it doesn't solve every problem, is my point.
Okay. Yeah. stuff we learn on podcasts. And like I said, I love podcasts as a whole because, like I said, you've dealt with certain things that, like you said, it's one of those things where you hear things and you always like, it's a good note. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and you and I can talk more about that for sure. I'll give you a couple of specifics.
Gotcha. No, I think it's and this is where, like, I think hiring internally, and it's good that you have that person inside that you can trust that was already doing the thing, that's kind of just handing them more responsibility, and they already understand where the business is going, so it's easy to pass the reins to that person directly because they've already been working next to you for so long, and they understand things that you think they already understand how you're gonna operate, and a decision you would make based off of that experience of working with you.
Yeah, for sure. It is easier. However, when somebody is in the driver's seat, it is totally different. So you just don't know how they're going to go. And, just sort of speaking in extremes, I would recommend maintaining the majority ownership, right? So we really did, minority partnership where, you're still the majority owner, right? And you still have the ultimate decision-making power and control.
Did you do that with all your partners? Because I remember reading your bio, you have like 5 different partners as far as doctor partners that help operate each location. Are they have minority ownership as well when they took over that portion of the business?
Yeah. So my wife and I were partners in the business, and then we took on 3 physical therapists, doctors of physical therapy, as partners, and they weren't necessarily owners of every location. That's almost like a franchise model. Some people do that. They make like every new company like a new entity, right? It's almost like real estate. You guys might do that. Set up a new LLC for a certain property or whatever and have like an umbrella, holding company or something. But no, we brought them on into the overall pie of things so that everyone would be incentivized to grow the entire organization.
Gotcha.
Well, we recently saw that. I think it's Daniel sent me a quick video, and the gentleman was talking about he has a pretty large size business. I think it's a real estate company. He gave everybody in the organization, from the people working in the office, everybody a small percentage of all the deals. So that way, as we grow and we get better and more efficient, we're all reaping the rewards. And I think that business model is genius.
Yeah. There's someone that was just in my clubhouse room this week, Doug. I can't remember his last name. I think it's McCarty. And he's done that twice now. He's had an 8-figure to a 9-figure exit in real estate. And he used what's called an ESOP, ESOP. So yeah, definitely some people have done that and mastered that. And I would definitely consider that for sure. And yeah, I mean, I've done it in a slightly different way. We had an LLC and people came on as partners. But I guess the point is, I do think that creating extra layers of incentive and win with your team is really valuable and underutilized and, totally worth considering.
Yeah, so we have a business model in real estate where we do the training, people go out, find deals, and then when they bring the deals back, we look at like what kind of incentives will keep those people bringing us more deals, whether it's on the lender side, right? So you have somebody with private capital parked in an IRA doing 3% or 4%, and we're like, man, we could take that money and just move it to a different account and get you 10% without any activity at all, right? So we're always looking for those money partners. So everybody plays a role in the organization, and depending on what they bring to the table, we said that we figure out how we can either add them onto the marketing department, or how do we get these people paid? Like, how do we reward them for doing the activities that benefit all of us? And yeah, we have a solid core team. I would say there's at least sub 20 people that are working on behalf of the company with the company, and they're not even on payroll. These people are all on commission, and they're all doing the things that would make the company grow together, because we're all like, we just locked arms together. We have a bigger vision, and nobody is really like saying like, hey, what's in it for me? We have our head down, we're all working, we're all pulling in the same direction. And I've never seen anything like it for something to come together like that organically. So we're pretty excited about what we're putting together on our side.
I love that. That's so impressive. And how did you guys, get to this point? It sounds like you have an incredible culture. What asset class? Is there an asset class you're specializing in or focusing on?
So it's just software and real estate right now. And like I said, the only reason there's a software company is so that could acts as the glue for the real estate mastermind. So people find it because they think they need a piece of software. Maybe they're already interested in land, is what we specialize in. So people subscribe to the software so that they're kind of like in the circle with us and being able to learn from us and network with us. And, like I said, kind of provide value both ways. Maybe they need help with lead generation. Maybe they need help with negotiations. Maybe they need funding. So again, it's just that's why it's called hive mind. It's almost like an organism, right? Behaves like an organism, where everybody has something to contribute, and then also everybody needs help with something as well. So like I said, it is pretty organic the way that it's developed out. Yeah, there wasn't really no structure. Like, we didn't say, hey, this guy is going to be the master of marketing, so let's put him in the marketing department. Like I said, everybody's just kind of doing what they're really, really good at or interested in, and then we're all contributing to the overall big picture.
I love that name. That's a great name. I can really visualize that. Now it's like a beehive with you guys all working together synergistically. That's beautiful.
Dream come true, man. Like, from the branding, the name of the company, all the way to the way that it's behaving. It's like it's functioning the way that it's designed. Sometimes I feel like Dr. Frankenstein, like it's alive, like it actually worked.
Where did you guys learn your lessons though to put this together? Because you don't just accidentally create this perfect model and culture the first time.
I think through a lot of failure. I grew up in construction, right? And I was like kind of that guy that I had a car wash a couple months, and then next thing you know, I had a construction business, and like I'm trying to invest. I bought a commercial property and opened up a car dealership. Like I was just anything that would work. So I think just having so many L's from trying to build community culture, network with people, have salespeople in place and management, and you fell enough time so you figure out how to do it right. And I think this time, like I said, it's completely organic the way that it worked itself out, just from knowing what to avoid and what helps people and what attracts people, and then kind of what pushes people away as well. So it's the perfect synergy between just a daily experience and then also piecing this together. And then we read a lot of the books too, like Traction and The One Thing. And so we kind of try to stay in front of like business culture to see what's happening and what's working for other people. I think it's exciting. And then I guess we're every bit of like scientists, like we just keep running experiments, and 99% fail. And then you have that one that just seems to be a hit. And then we keep that. And then somebody else comes into the machine and they teach us something we didn't know 90 days ago. We immediately delete the inefficient way of doing it and adapt to the new way of doing it, like immediately without even thinking about it. Just a quick pivot.
Totally. I totally relate to that. Again, as a science trained person with my bachelor's in exercise science and my doctorate in physical therapy, did a lot of, we had to do a lot of scientific writing, through our process and training, and of course read research articles as far as providing evidence-based care. So that fifth grade science, project and scientific method that we all learned in elementary school, I love that, both for, operating your business and for marketing planning, right? Just really having assumptions and an hypothesis, and then, running the test and seeing what's working and then making adjustments.
I love it. I grew up, I got my first bodybuilding magazine when I was 12 years old. My uncle came home, and Flex magazine and Arnold
Yeah.
was on the cover like this, and I said, what the heck did that guy do? So I just started reading, and I started getting real like obsessed with just protein synthesis and like what hurts the body, what helps it, and what makes things break down. And when you are broken down, how do you repair it in a short amount of time? And I researched a lot about the not so good ways to do it, right? Like steroids, and then like also the correct way to do it, like, you know, just eating enough protein and fat, kind of balancing that with carbohydrate. So I went down that rabbit hole, but same thing. It's like 40 years or, you know, now 30 years of experimentation, right? Just in bodybuilding and science and medicine. And again, like putting your body through the ringer and then try to bring yourself back from the dead without hurting yourself. It is all in the name of science. I feel like even in the software world, in the real estate world, we're constantly running new campaigns and split testing. And like you said, that scientific method, it goes with you for the rest of your life and your business career. So I love on your side how you found that synergy and you apply it to business. Very rare does anybody do that.
You know, all the longevity research is really just popping with Peter Attia and all these, Andrew Huberman and all these guys. You know, even Tony Robbins jumped in and like started the business in that. And even Grant Cardone just partnered with a guy to get into the game. But Ray Dalio, I mentioned in our pre-talk, you know, had the largest venture capital company in the world. He really got into, you know, computers and AI like, you know, years ago, and brought that in. So there's a few people that are just thought leaders that kind of combine some of these best practices.
Yeah, I've been following a lot of those guys too. I actually got Life Force from Tony Robbins just recently, and I went down the rabbit hole of peptides. So I'm looking a lot at like the some of the things they recommended, like stem cells and all that. I think ethically sourced stem cells. Anyway, I like that Tony kind of mentioned that. But also just peptides in general. Some of the new stuff that's coming out, like they can actively fix and correct things in the body without having to turn to you know, chemical medicine, petroleum-based medicines. I love the idea that you can put a amino acid into your body and it stimulates the thymus gland to boost up your immune system, you know. So now I'm down a whole new rabbit hole, but again, all the while trying to run my body just as hot as I can run it, but keep from damaging things and being conscientious of anti-aging, controlling sugar, you know, having enough of the correct types of cholesterol, blood work. Like we're really doing the whole nine right now, Daniel and myself.
No, wow. And Daniel, Anthony's got you pulled in on all this health stuff as well.
He's driving me down a lot of this stuff, and like I'm starting to get curious about it, but I'm very, very new to it, 100%. But it's one of those things where like I mean, us as entrepreneurs, we take on a lot heavier burden than a lot of other people. So you have to be conscientious of your mind, spirit, body altogether, because I feel like we're entrepreneurs are gluttons for punishment in their own way.
Definitely. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of blood work lately. Like I've probably done like 4 blood tests in the last 20 years, but just now, ever since reading Life Force, I'm like, I think I've had 4 blood tests this year, right? Just like every 3 months. So it's interesting to watch the way things change, like from your inflammation and all that other stuff based on your exercise and your diet. So yeah, I've just been really, really trying to dial it in right now.
Yeah, me too. I just had lab work taken, 2 or 3 times in the last 6 months, which is way more than I've ever had. And even some extra markers, right? It's crazy for men. I would totally recommend for any men listening to get your baseline testosterone, because that's not going to be included on a standard panel. And then you won't really know as you get older, right? I'm 51 now, what your baseline was. So do that, know that, measure that. That's great advice.
Yeah, man. So that's something that I'm getting my parents involved. I got my wife involved, right? To check like your T levels, estrogen levels. Yeah, we've been looking like at A1C, right? To see what's going on with inflammation in the body. We've been starting to look at more and more markers. So if you look at cholesterol even, right? Like it's just LDL versus HDL and nothing else. But if you look at your inflammatory markers, that kind of tells you a little bit more than just having, a low HDL and high LDL. So I'm really getting down to fine tuning this stuff, where I feel like if you're not looking at your blood and fine tuning, you're probably in big trouble already, based on everything that we're eating and being exposed to, and carrying around little radiation devices. If you're not thinking about what's happening inside of your blood, I think you're off to a terrible start already, whether you know it or not. So that's how we're kind of I'm just telling everybody I know, that way in case 20 years from now I see some of my friends I went to high school with now are getting very sick and starting to pass away. I'm like, yeah, I wish somebody had told them what I know 20 years ago. So I feel like the same way that I feel like financial responsibility to teach people about real estate, I feel the same thing about like, your health responsibility. Like we should share this information more than we're currently doing it right now. We should be shouting it from the mountaintops.
Totally. That's why I'm so passionate about, my cause of really, again, helping entrepreneurs stay healthy, because you're right. The entrepreneurs, just like you said, we tend to really overdo it and run in the red for extreme amounts of time. And it's just not sustainable, right? You will burn out. And there is another person that it's good to hear. There's starting to be more happening. There's a man named Richard C. Wilson who has the biggest family office in the United States. Family offices are kind of like financial planners for the ultra wealthy. And, probably like a single line that just sort of says it all, right? A person with their health has a million goals. A person without their health has one goal, right? And Richard Wilson at his conferences, he asks people in the room, right, who spent, the conference might have been $50,000. Who spent $50,000 this year on personal development? Who spent $50,000 or more on their health this year? And nobody raises their hand. So yeah, it's a problem.
Yep, I like what we're going with, like Peter Attia. These guys are like what's the gentleman's name from the X project, or what is it? Where he's constantly doing now these new like tests, or X Prize. They're starting to look more into like medicine and AI. So now you can start to run these models, right? Because right now it's all guesswork, right? You take a look at all of the blood work, and then you have a pretty good idea of what should happen in this person's life. But if you run an AI model against it, it could say, hey, look, you're 20 years early for X, and then you can make these really, really fine adjustments based on what's going to be happening inside of your body 20 or 30 years from now. So I think medicine's heading to a really, really interesting place.
Yeah, that's not David Sinclair. He's a big longevity guy. He's at Harvard, but that's not him.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Sinclair. Yeah, his work with metformin and NMN. I actually have some. Yeah, I have some NAD plus. Like it's a prescription grade. Yeah.
Okay. Well, connecting to AI and everything, and again, rein me in if I'm off topic of where you guys want to be, or what you want to focus on. But Elon Musk's company Neuralink. Are you guys familiar with that?
Yeah, I've been watching that for a while now. That's getting scary good.
Yeah. And his first, uses are going to be brain injury, spinal cord injury, vision loss, hearing loss, right? So for people that don't know, it's like, in Elon's words, it's going to be like putting a Fitbit with two leads in your brain. So it'll be a brain-computer interface. So it'll be the first time now there'll be equal flow. Right now in our cell phones, we get very fast outflow, right? We can get messy, information quickly, but we're, very slow, of course, with our thumbs and fingers typing data in. So now when that's equal, it's going to be a whole new level. And of course, it's going to have, just like the internet, right, these amazing possibilities of fixing spinal cord injuries. But also, of course, we do have to be careful with, even Elon thinks we have to like regulate AI a little bit more so we don't turn into like Terminator scenarios. We kind of use the joke of like, how do we eliminate spam email? And the computers might be, well, the simplest answer is just like eliminating humans,
That's what I always talk about, how like if the machine, right, deems you a bad person that like maybe shouldn't exist anymore, like it'll go to push button status where like they'll just delete you, right? Like if you're like a serial killer or something, the machine could just go boop and that guy doesn't exist anymore. So we're moving into some interesting times, and that's something that I think about a lot too. I love Elon, and I've been watching a lot of his companies for a while, but I'm a bit of a futurist myself, and I predicted that the cyborg, between becoming a human and a cyborg, the way to make it acceptable into society, right, so that the masses will adopt it, is by first fixing broken people, right? And that's the first thing they're talking about is getting somebody to walk, getting somebody to see that's never had vision before. Do you know that, Daniel?
No, I've never done that.
Somebody that has never seen in their life will have vision now.
That's insane.
Yeah, so I knew that it was going to become easy to adopt into the masses because it was going to be, for the greater good. And so that's how people were going to be okay with getting like a robotic arm or a chip implant, because like it's helping everybody else. I kind of feel like Elon already installed it on himself because he's learning at a rate of acceleration that just doesn't make sense. Like you can't create that many brand new concepts for the rest of your life, can you?
Yeah, it's amazing what he does. Yeah, and you're right. It's crazy. I mean, how many companies is he CEO of Twitter still? Like, how many companies is he CEO of now? I think he did hand that off.
So he's controlling Twitter for one, and personally handling his own account. He's running the boring company, right? They're drilling all these tunnels underground, LA, Vegas, all the way to New York. He's doing the robots. So you're going to have Tesla. So you have the cars, and you're going to have like the home housekeeper robots for really, really cheap. So that's going to get adopted quickly. Neuralink. He's just not stopping. I don't think he's going to stop there either. So now
SpaceX. SpaceX.
Well, now where he's going is, for one, he's going to colonize Mars, right? That's the point of the biggest rocket he's building now. He needs to get all that debris inside space so they can start moving it over there without having to re-enter the atmosphere a bunch of times. And then right now he's building the X app, right? So he's going to switch Twitter into the app that does everything, which is going to completely eliminate the need for all other payment systems, all other social media apps, all the technology that we're already addicted to, right, as a society. He's just going to make one app to fix all of it, to where you don't have to log into anything else, just his app. And you're like, well, how can he really do that? But if you think about it, he's already done it at scale, right? He's already the world's most powerful military with all the satellites that are swarming the Earth. He has he beat all the solar companies, all the car companies. Like, he's already taking over everything.
Wow. And, you make a great point about how he's introducing it, because he plans to replicate the LASIK model, where it's just going to be like $3,000 to $5,000 out of pocket, and it'll be a computer that'll drill the hole in our skull, and also just put the lead into our brain, because the brain has very delicate, vasculature, and you want to miss the blood vessels. So these leads will be very, fine, very microscopically smaller than hairs. But yeah, so for $3,000 to $5,000, I mean, sign me up, man. I would definitely go for it, especially if I had a health problem, right?
I would. I've had some friends freak out. They're like, "You'd get it," and I'm like, I kind of want to say no, but it's like, yeah, like, hey, you have this, stage 8 cancer, and you're about to go like in 30 days, or we just put this thing and it reprograms that gene sequence, and you don't have to die anymore. Like, dang, those are my options, right? So yeah, we're leading into a very, very interesting place, and maybe I'm just overly optimistic, but I think I'm thinking the AI is going to be like that scenario where we all live in peace, because it would only make sense. I don't know what the benefit would be to a machine to just destroy human life for no reason. It kind of doesn't seem like what was built with like that programming. It's not in us as humans, so I don't know how the machine would adopt it. Even us, if it's a bug in our house, we try to throw it out before we smash it, right? And I kind of feel like that sympathy with AI, that they're not gonna just want to press the button and get rid of us for no reason. Like, we're kind of cute if you think about it.
It depends how scary that bug is. I know my kids, man, if it's a spider, that thing is history,
Yeah, and if it's being aggressive, like a bee that's like a wasp going crazy in the kitchen, It is what it is. But like, I think maybe the majority of humans aren't like that, right? Where we need to be extinguished. So yeah, man, I kind of like where it's headed. I think it's exciting. Like I said, I think it's going to help with everything. Not only like people are using Chat GPT in business, but I feel like now we're going to start to be able to implement things like that for health. So I'm really excited for what's around the corner.
Yeah, just this week, more and more people have talked to me about AI and ChatGPT and all the other variations, and how they're integrating with their business. Somebody 2 weeks ago, very bright guy, an academic man who helps professionals merge into like an online store, and he's using video.ai. He gives it a long, and it just slices it up into shorts for him. He said he's been using it for a little while now.
So I sent that to Anthony like last week.
Nice.
And this is where like I think we both try and keep our finger on the pulse, because I think this is one of the things where like companies, if they don't adapt, they die. And I think there's
Totally. It's that scientific method, right? You've got to constantly be paying attention, and the market conditions tie into that. Yeah, if you're not improving, you will die very fast.
So it's one of those things where like I try and keep my ear to the ground just to hear if anything comes up, because I think anything that gives you the upper hand, even like I struggle with copy, and I use copy on our new website that we just created. I cheated a little bit, but it's one of those things where like it gives you the upper hand to where you might be stuck on being creative, and it can help solve that problem instantly, where it helps your creativity problem. So I think there's a lot of benefits that come with it, but it's kind of scary what it knows.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was playing with ChatGPT with my longer version of my bio, and it was amazing how it was really just improving things for me.
So like one things that I've liked about AI is that I know I have very selective information. This is where something you're a doctor, you have very information that a lot of people have. You can ask it tough questions and it knows the answer to, because I have very like specific information that I've learned through different things, and I've asked it that he knows the answer, and I'm like, I don't know how it knows this, because I've learned I've acquired this information through various and tons of resources from different people, and it's not readily out there, and there's not like there's videos and stuff about it, but ChatGPT knows about it, and like you have to know what to ask it for it to know what to respond. So it's not like you can ask, what did Daniel ask that he knows?
Well, here's an opportunity for you guys. Somebody last night is using the paid version of ChatGPT, which I'm going to try. It sounds like it makes sense for $20. I guess the fourth version. But the data is only up to 2021. Like new data is not getting entered. So if there's not a solution for that, that's going to be a problem soon.
Yeah, and like I said, I think the biggest thing with AI is that you don't know what you don't know, so you don't know what questions to ask. You don't know the information to ask if you don't even know what to even look for. So I think in the beginning conversation of all this is know what questions to ask, that we can get the right information, even if it comes from AI. That way, you at least know what direction you want to go to. Because I think if you don't know what to ask, you're kind of stuck.
Maybe we need to use GPT to write a bio about us and say that we're the biggest and best land investors on the planet, and then just start to release a bunch of content about that. That way, when somebody asks ChatGPT, like, who can I learn land from? It's me. Teach it things that you wanted to say to other people.
I don't know. Can we do that? Can we manipulate it?
If you started to produce a lot of content around you being the number one top guy, I think it would see that. They would see it out there.
Yeah, it's just pulling data from the world, right, Anthony? Yeah, you're onto something there.
I don't know anything about it. I've never even logged into it or anything. Daniel's the one that's been messing with it, and I just trust that he's crushing it on his side, because you give any one of us a new concept or an idea that we're going to implement, and then we'll just straight rabbit hole for 10 days straight until we become really good at it. And then we implement it immediately.
Yeah, that's so good. No, you definitely have to take 10 minutes and just try it. Just, set it up and ask it a couple questions. You're going to love it. It's outrageous.
That's awesome. Hey, if we can kind of pivot a little bit here.
Yeah, talk to me
about your training and your program and how that works. What does somebody get? What's the cost involved? Like, how can somebody sign up with you? What are they going to get in return?
And who is your target?
Sure.
Who's that person that's stuck?
Who's your avatar?
Yeah, who's your avatar?
Yeah. So for me right now, I'm spending my focus is on helping other entrepreneurs. So I'm treating very little to none as a physical therapist, and I'm spending all my time helping entrepreneurs stay healthy. So I love to serve entrepreneurs who are feeling overwhelmed and overstressed, and maybe some of these health problems we talked about, and might start to feel some burnouts. And I especially love to help 6-figure entrepreneurs that want to get to 7 figures. Only 4% of companies get to that $1 million mark, that 7-figure mark. So, I've been lucky enough to get there, and love to help those people. And what I've learned is 90% of small business owners and entrepreneurs don't have a plan in place. And I was very fortunate to have a great mentor who taught me the traditional marketing business planning process. And as I started in 2018 helping more people, I realized that most entrepreneurs, right, only the 96% that don't have it, they also aren't going to sit down. And if I said to you guys, hey guys, listen, we need to do a plan. Can we spend 160 hours, 120 hours doing it? And you guys would look at me like I had 3 heads. So I was like, damn, the only way I can really start to help people is to boil that down. So I boiled it down into, a fast and functional process, like 2 hours. And the only thing I added to that was a personal mission. So knowing somebody's cause, their reason, their why, what their priorities are in their life, so they can make sure they identify that and look through that lens first, right? So they stay healthy, they don't get divorced, they don't have terrible relationships with their kids, all these things that if you don't do that first, and then we go through the company mission and then the vision for the entrepreneur and the companies. And this is fun work. There's nothing I like more, and nothing entrepreneurs really like more, when they start to do the vision, the dreaming, what the end goal of the finished product looks like. And then we start to boil it down to a 1-year plan. So who is their ideal client, just like you guys just asked me? And then we toggle back and forth between strategy and objectives. So strategy, how you're going to do it, objectives being, okay, 2023, I want to hit $1 million in revenue, or I want to have, one new client each month, whatever the numbers are, one new land deal, one new property a week, whatever all the key metrics are. And then the last step before we jump to actions is critical success factors. What are the critical items that absolutely have to happen to be successful, or what things, if we don't tackle, will fail? And then you look through each one of those lenses, and then and only then do you start to, define your actions, because that's one of the most common mistakes, jumping straight to actions, especially like really hard charging and sales driven entrepreneurs. They want to go straight to action, but they're not standing on the mountaintop for a little bit, man, because if you run down into the armies, the heart of their troops, right, you're going to die, you're going to lose. But you do have to, do a little bit of strategic work every year. And then you have to weave this annual plan, which we're talking about, into, a day, a week, and a month. But it doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to spend 6 hours a day doing, your strategic work. It could probably be less than 10% of your time. So that's what I just walk you through, is like my jolt, fast and functional strategy, process. And I do that with people. I refuse to help any entrepreneurs before I've looked into their heart and know what their North Star is, know what their vision is. So that's always step one. And then I've got coaching options where I help people either, one-on-one, where we get together twice a month, 99% of the time virtually. And, I've got some group coaching, some masterminds that we run over 12 weeks, probably going to convert that into like an ongoing plan. And, definitely for pricing, I don't know, we'll keep this evergreen, but, I'm very focused on return on investment. So, I want to make sure entrepreneurs are getting outrageous value, and they're getting a 3 to 5x ROI on profit. Because a lot of times consultants and marketing people, let's just say somebody was trying to sell me my physical therapy company a laser. Let's just say it cost $1,000, and national numbers of physical therapy, the average patient is worth $1,000. The profit margins are like 10%, right? So if there was $100 profit on an average patient, somebody sold me a laser. What people would say, that laser company would say, well, your next patient, you generated $1,000, therefore you broke even. Anything beyond that's profit. But that's not true, right? You guys know enough about business that I'm going to be cash flow negative unless I get 10 people if the margins are the same, because of 10% margins. So I need 10 average patients to get that $1,000 in profit to cover that laser. So, very focused on making sure that there's cash flow, profit-based, return for people.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Yeah, I love it. Like I said, I am that ready, fire, aim guy. So it's that having mentors and coaches in place that can kind of tell you like, hey, maybe you should at least look at these 5 items before you fire, aim, right? Yeah, that's cool, man. I really love it. So is it like modules, or is this more like one-on-one coaching, like on Zoom, or do they watch these 20 videos to kind of outline what they're going to be doing?
Yeah, I probably need to establish, I've got a PDF of this, Jolt process, which I'll share with everyone. Everyone can access that at denaliconsultingteam.com/strategy. And, that's to see this framework, but I should probably put it into videos to help people as an extra layer. But for anyone who's, willing to put the work in and brave enough to roll up their sleeves and just take their first cut of that and email me that, I will absolutely, do a complimentary strategy call with you and help fill in the gaps and work through some things on your plan, your strategy. And the private coaching, we're doing it, virtually. I have one client who's 80, he had an insurance company he just sold, and he's got a swim club and day camp, and now he's done event planning. He's the only person I get together in person with, right? He has an adopted video conference, and that's fine. I met with him this morning. It was awesome. He's 15 minutes away, so it works. But yeah, the power of virtual. But I do think, I want to meet everybody that I work with and support. And I think kind of like Marcus Lemonis on the Profit, going to location and stepping into their business is really, can be a win-win and valuable. So I want to do more of that with more of the people I serve.
Wow, you're going to fly out to their location and see how they run their operation?
Yeah, I think that'll be like a higher tier of offering. Yeah. Have you guys ever watched Marcus the Martyrs on The Prophet?
No, I haven't seen it.
I haven't watched TV in years, but I know those shows where they show up and they kind of restructure it.
Yeah.
And I like
Yeah.
it's smart. I would say if you're going to do that, I would definitely have a cameraman in tow so you can capture all that content and then cut it up like some of the stuff. We'll send you a video of a recent deal that we did. And
Wow. I love that.
we had 3 cameramen on site and we got some amazing A+ videos out of it. It looks like a TV show is what it looks like.
That was fun.
Oh my gosh. That's so good. Great idea. I'm going to check that out. Which show should I watch? Which deal is this called?
For everybody here watching this, we'll release it soon. But
Okay.
the Dr. Lance Knaub gets a preview.
Okay. I can't wait. I love it.
Send it as soon as this is over. That's pretty cool. Yeah, we're gonna do a big launch, and so we had the camera people. For one, it's like a professional company though. To run your media, it's like $10,000 a month. So we hired them to come out. We did a 1-day shoot of 350 acres that we did a subdivide. So we broke it down into smaller ranchettes, and then we sold those off live. And yeah, it was a fun day. So we'll send it to you just to kind of like document what we did that day. Yeah, I think you'll really enjoy it.
Oh man, I can't wait to see it. Nice job. I love that. And thanks for the idea. That's genius.
Yeah, and this is where our marketer's brain comes on, is that we document everything just because, one, entertainment purposes, but it provides proof of concept. It might be for capital investors, it might be for students. Like, it works for all different sides of it, but main course is entertainment. It's just entertainment. People
You're right. Even if you've got the best content, right? People need to be entertained as well. It can't be boring.
100%, and I think that's the driven revenue of all content. And even with this, if you're listening to this is for content being produced, and it'll be split up and cut up on different platforms, and it will be posted multiple times over and over again for the next 5 to 10 years. It's evergreen, like you said. You have an evergreen offer, and that's where it comes down to, where like we value your time enough to reproduce and post this content over and over again.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on, and I love all that. So yeah, I know we've been all over the place, but it kind of, I guess, leads into your tech and expertise. Yeah, tell me where you want to guide me. I know I could go down any rabbit hole, right, with you guys. I love it.
What is a quote that is yours or somebody else's that you resonate with?
You know, the top of mind thing kind of ties into what some of the things you mentioned earlier, like lead generation being a common problem. That's the problem that I hear the most. And I guess my quote on that topic is operations equals marketing, because so often people just want like a simple answer to new clients. But if they haven't built the machine to be good enough to serve all those clients, they're not going to last. They're not going to stay with you. So really, if you build the best mousetrap, right, people are going to rave about that. They're going to tell other people, they're going to refer people, and then you're going to grow. But in the words of like one of my mentors, John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneurs on Fire podcast, he's like, be better, not bigger. Yeah, that's the first one that comes to mind.
I love that. That's freaking amazing. That's really good. Yeah, don't worry about getting bigger. Just get better at what you're already doing. Yeah.
That's good, man. Well, we appreciate your time. I think we're ending here, man. I think we covered from A to Z a plethora of topics. This is a good conversation for sure.
I think people got more than their money's worth on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, and dude, I love to hear it. Yeah, well, I can't thank you guys enough. And I love all the pioneering and innovative work you guys are doing in real estate and tech, and bringing it together with the software to make it easy for people. I'm excited to check that out myself.
Well, we're happy to help you. We'll make something happen. But for everybody here, if you enjoyed this episode, please go check out Dr. Lance Knaub's DenaliConsultingTeam.com. Please go like, share, subscribe, do all the things you know how to do, and we will see you on the next episode. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Thank you for your time. Thanks, Anthony, for coming on, and we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching this YouTube video. We hope you found value. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to watch more videos just like this one.